Okay, awesome. Thank you. Hey, Seth. Hey, Jason. How you guys doing today?
Hey Joseph,
Good.
nice
How
to
are
meet you.
you?
I'm doing wonderful. Nice to meet you both.
Likewise.
Um, I like that art behind you guys.
Oh, Jason's is Costanza.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah. So my question's about Royal Crackers. Let's get into it. First of all, what was which one of you had the initial spark to make this idea come to life? Like, who came up with the premise for Royal Crackers?
Mm, I think it was just a discussion Seth and I had. I think we were both watching Succession um in like 2019. That's how long we've been working on this show. And so I think they were in season 2 at the time, and like we were just discussing like this idea of an animated show that was about like a family empire, like a family company where the stakes just were treated as highly by them, like they treated it as just this coveted piece of treasure, and just like this, like basically like the Iron Throne, but it was just to the audience and everyone else, just it was just a piece of shit company, like measly snack food company. And that just kind of made us laugh. And then we just kind of started filling out the characters from there.
So, let me ask then, piggybacking off of that, which character did you start with and then build the family out from that point?
It's a great question. I think Theo was the first character we started, because I knew that I remember originally the pilot was going to be like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where like Theo moved back in, and it was like he thought of himself as like the Fresh Prince, basically, like moving, like, yeah, I'm about to shake this house up. But that got shot down wisely by Adult Swim, because they just were like, that kind of feels like it's a premise pilot, like it's like kind of starting a story, and you want a pilot that kind of feels like it could be episode 9, episode 10. So yeah, I long way to answer your question, but yeah, I think Theo was the first original character to kick this off.
Did you guys always have in mind for the dad, like the older dad, for that to be how he was introduced? Or did you ever have plans to have him actually have lines or um, be a part of the story in any way other than kicking it off?
He eventually, there's a origin story episode where you're gonna see him young and alive and speaking and uh energetic. So that did end up becoming the decision that we would end up like kind of filling him with more life. I want to say that at the start we were like, no, he's just going to be a lump forever. Turns out he's got a lot to say.
Yeah, we pitched him as but it's interesting. It's one of those things where like Adult Swim was down, but I think Jason and the writers, once they got in, you kind of don't know where the show's going to go when you're first starting out, and I think they got in there and they were like, oh, this is an interesting story. That episode that Jason's referencing, in some ways I feel like that's a favorite of a lot of people internally, just because it's a character we haven't seen, and it's such an interesting time, and visually I think it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, what made you come up with black licorice for the disgusting flavor? Were there any other uh, flavors you had considered for a nosebleed?
I think, oh my God. Yes, there was. And I'm trying to think of what the like alternatives were. Black licorice. I don't remember. Oh my God. Olive oil? No. I don't remember, unfortunately. But yes, there was plenty of different versions. I mean, when you're sitting on a pilot script for that long, you have plenty of time to tinker and come up with 1,000 different versions of a joke.
Do you feel like I'm sorry, I thought you were talking. I'm done talking.
No, it's all good. I was just gonna say that, like, I kind of feel like Black Licorice though is pretty. I mean, that's a pretty. It's hard to find somebody who's like all about Black Licorice.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not so. There are ones that I think are just so goofy that are funny to me. You know, like a trout flavored, but you want these guys to be. The whole show, they're aspirational, right? They're just bad. They should not be in charge, which so often is the case with people in charge. So like Black Licorice is almost perfect because like, yeah, you could kind of see it. It's just like a huge mistake. But like it's not like you just are going for the joke where it's like, I don't like dirty socks. And you're like, yeah, that's funny, but like who would really do that, you know?
Is the pilot episode in your guys' eyes, do you feel like it's a little disconnected from the rest of the show because you had written it and worked on it so much prior?
I do personally. I mean, look, I'm very like it's performing a lot better than I expected, like because of that reason. Like, I mean, it was written so long ago and just comedy ages so quickly. My dog's about to start barking, sorry. Yeah, it was I was really nervous about releasing the pilot because I was like, I just think we've gotten so much better and I don't think it's a good kind of barometer of what the show is. So in my opinion, the show gets just only better from the pilot. You know, I'm still seeing it on YouTube now and watching it, and like I am very proud of it. I think it's a great episode. It's just, you know, the show has evolved into something much better in my opinion.
Well, congratulations to you guys for getting greenlit for season 2. Is that something that you guys had expected when you went into this, or were you planning on making something smaller?
Beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, totally. You desperately want it, but you sort of just try to make the best work that you can make, and then that really, it gets into some alchemy that like you are not in control of. Like the network you have to have the sort of right team at the network, because you cannot make a show without fans over there. And so yeah, oh my gosh, I don't know any writer, executive producer who would just be that sort of, just expect a season 2. We were grateful and we were trying to make the best show that we could make, and luckily they saw it the same way. So they were like, yeah, you guys have more stories to tell.
So did you guys have that in mind once you had finished season 1? Were you guys thinking like, oh, well, we should have included this or included that? And then once you got greenlit, you have plans to now put those things in season 2?
I'm sure there was probably a few things. I'm having trouble remembering any, but I think there was probably instances of going like, oh shit, we should have done that. And then I think I know we were editing when we got the second season. So probably like the tail end of production of season 1. And you know, it was kind of at that point where it was like, you know, it's too late to like write anything new into this episodes or whatever. So I'm sure there were small examples, but I mean, honestly, like it was such a surprise. I didn't see it coming personally. And it was like kind of like excitement, and then like, oh shit, we got 10 more episodes. We got to come up with this stuff. So it was a little bit of like a scare, but I think it's coming along really great. We're really proud of.
And hopefully in second season, you no longer are responsible for introducing these characters to an audience. And so that frees up some space about like you know, what are they gonna do? How are they gonna behave? Hopefully by then. But I also think in second season, one of the greatest things, like, we can give time to characters who we haven't seen that much in first season. We can give them the spotlight a little bit. And I think like in season 2, that happens, and like in a way that just as a fan of the show, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like, you know, we continue to find new stories to tell with, even with characters.
So my time is coming up. So my last question for you guys is there anything that you guys aren't asked in interviews or that you feel like isn't shown on the surface level of Royal Crackers that you'd like to share?
How I'm doing. Nobody asks me how I'm doing ever. Um, things on the surface level that aren't. I mean, I'm just excited for people to see the rest of the show, because I think even with the 3 episodes that you've seen, like, it just gets so much more interesting than that, in my opinion. I mean, I love those episodes, don't get me wrong, but I just think I'm really proud of the season as a whole, so I just can't wait for everybody to see it.
Yeah, and I feel like the thing that I hope it speaks to is like this family is, they, even though they on the surface have a lot going, you know, they're wealthy. They're just not as rich as they'd like to be. But I think like as the show develops, we really learn that they feel like they're outsiders, and I kind of hope that the audience, you know, vibes with that. Like, you know, we all can feel like we're not part of some, you know, everybody else is having the luck but us. And so I hope that resonates with people, because on the surface you're like, they got it all, and then you look inside their dining room and you're like, oh my God, they're a mess.
Yeah, and also on that, sorry, just to piggyback on that, is just like, also just, we're not where we belong. We belong up there. We're down here. You know, just that level of aspiration and envy that is almost unwarranted in a way.
Yeah, aspiration's good. Envy is terrible.
Yeah.
They have a balance problem, but
Yeah, I think that line is a little blurred with the Hornsbys.
Well, I think it found the best home it could on Adult Swim, and I could talk to you guys all day. I appreciate you guys talking to me, but Nicole's gonna kick my ass if I don't stop asking you questions.